Minnesota, just like in Wisconsin, we respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. Even if we wouldn't make the same choices for ourselves, because we know there's a golden rule.
He's not a nice old guy. He's a leftist. He is an extreme left-wing progressive. He is a wolf in sheep's...
Michele Tafoya walks in like she just found out the juiciest secret ever. And it's all about Tim Walz. She's not just sharing some gossip. She's tossing the whole teapot across the room. Suddenly, Tim isn't just a regular politician. He's like a warning sign flashing trouble ahead. Michele's waving big red flags, shouting, "Heads up, this guy's a mess." This isn't your usual boring political stuff. It's like a big, wild roast nobody expected.
Maybe we won't agree on every issue. Hell, maybe we won't agree on any issue. But maybe when the campaign signs come down, we all get a little break from the rhetoric and the TV ads and the fundraising trucks, and I'm sorry about those.
I happen to live right now in Minnesota, where he is still the governor, and he's still a fool, and he's still a fraud, and he's still a clown.
Ooh.
And I seriously have zero respect.
Hey, if you're liking this, hit that subscribe button on the channel. It helps a ton. Michele Tafoya didn't just step into the drama. She dove in like a superhero landing in a movie. Her target? Tim Walz, the Minnesota governor. He's not just that guy who looks like a dad in a flannel shirt pretending to be outdoorsy. Nope, Michele basically stuck a giant warning label on him that says, "Watch out. This guy might make you roll your eyes so hard they get stuck."
I would say so far, not a good week, and it's early, it's only Wednesday, but not a good week for Kamala Harris. And meanwhile, her running mate, who again, full disclosure, governor of the state of Minnesota where I live and will not be living much longer, thanks in large part to Winters, yes, but Walz as well, the two W's. I don't know how hard I have to work to convince you all that Tim Walz is not a man you want a heartbeat away from the president.
Here's the deal with Tim Walz. He's super good at being super average. It's like he wakes up every day and thinks, how can I make boring even more boring? And then he nails it. Whether he's messing up decisions like he's got slippery hands or giving speeches that sound like a robot with a bad internet connection, Tim's turned Minnesota nice into Minnesota, oh no.
Closely do you think the current governor, Tim Walz, is associated with that fraud? How much responsibility does he bear?
Oh, he owns it. Absolutely. I mean, there have been no agency people held accountable for the fraud on the front end. So if we could stop this with better internal controls and oversight by the agencies, then there would be fewer criminals out there bilking the...
When he says that kids who want to come here and get gender-affirming care without parental guidance is wrong, he is lying to you. I'm married to a lifetime Minnesotan, and we now...
So why is Michele waving a red flag like she's trying to stop a parade of clowns? Because Tim's not just another politician making promises he doesn't keep. He's like the king of confusion. Every move he makes leaves people scratching their heads. Michele pulled back the curtain and showed everyone he's not some clever mastermind. He's the guy who'd get lost in a circle with a map and 3 giant signs pointing the way.
Tim Walz, okay?
Yeah.
So I was at the Peking University and engaging with economists, and I made the statement, I corrected him when he had said that Mao had made mistakes. And I said, excuse me, this was in 2010. They said killing more than 70 million of your own people is more than a mistake. And the Chinese deny my visa and say that I'll only be allowed into the country if I will sign a document stating that I will neither write nor say anything negative about it. I'm banned for one visit. But here's a guy who's going back while he's a National Guardsman,
And here's the cherry on this messy Sunday. Tim's way too confident. He walks around like he's got all the answers, but forgot to write them down. He's got that "trust me, I've got this" vibe while driving the state's plans straight into a ditch. Michele doesn't even need to say much. Tim's own actions show he's a problem. His leadership? It's like if you mixed indecision and way too complicated plans, then let that mess run a state. Tim takes simple stuff, turns it into a huge drama, and then forgets what he was even talking about. Need a clear answer? Good luck. Tim's busy talking to his old mistakes. Want things done fast? Nope. He turned ordering a pizza into a giant meeting with committees, surveys, and a debate about pineapple on pizza. Michele saw right through him and said, "Hey everyone, this guy's a disaster. Not because he's evil, but because he's the opposite."
Has never been vetted because he looks so harmless. Isn't that always the way, the wolf in sheep's clothing? It's always the way. When he abandoned Minneapolis during the George Floyd riots, we were all sitting back going, where the hell is Tim? Where's the governor? He didn't show his face for 3 days. It's not just that. There is so much wrong in this state now. When he says that there are not abortions up to 9 months,
Tim proves that sometimes the scariest leaders aren't the ones planning big bad things. They're the ones who think taping up a falling apart bridge is a great fix. Imagine hiring a babysitter who can't even use a microwave but wants to cook fancy food. Or someone trying to fix a leak and flooding the whole house. Michele standing there arms crossed, saying, "Told you so." Tim's messes speak for themselves. But here's the funny part. Tim tries to seem like a regular guy, just like you and me. Except he's not. He's worse at making decisions. When a governor makes you miss the days of slow internet, because at least it worked eventually, that's bad. His problem isn't being a cartoon villain. It's being boringly bad at his job.
what are you most proud of that you've accomplished since 2018?
You know, the most important work I've done has been in the last session when I became chair of the fraud committee. Minnesota has an epidemic of fraud. Under Tim Walz, we are looking at north of $1 billion of our tax dollars being stolen and ripped away from vulnerable citizens who actually need help. So my work on the fraud committee continues even though we're not in session. We're having our next meeting September 17th, and I am just committed to rooting out the fraud and protecting taxpayers and vulnerable.
He's not sneaking cookies from the jar. He's forgetting where the jar is, starting a team to find it, and then holding a big meeting to talk about cookie rules. Michele's yelling from the rooftops, "Be scared." This isn't leadership. It's a show that's not even funny. And Tim's excuses? Oh man, he could write a whole book called "It's Not My Fault." When things go wrong, he blames the weather, the economy, or even a random cat acting weird. He's got more excuses than a petting zoo has goats. And he says it all with a straight face, like he thinks we'll just nod. Michele must have been so done watching him dodge blame like it's a game. When you asked him a tough question, his answer is so off topic. You wonder if you're suddenly watching a cooking show. People want clear answers. He gives them a jumbled mess, like a salad with gross dressing and stale croutons. Michele didn't just call him out. She flipped the table and said, "Stop acting like this is okay."
In this state into the ground, and so there are a lot of people in my neighborhood who are moving, not just my neighborhood, from all over Minnesota, who have left, probably heading your way. It's been really sad. I've lived here for half of my life now. I grew up, like I said, in Southern California and spent the first half of my life in California and then came here. I'm so sad to see this state the way that it is. So I would have a, you know, honestly, I'd love to sit across from him and interview him, but it would be more like a...
The scariest part, and Michele totally got this, is that Tim somehow makes people think he's dependable. That's his big trick, pretending he's got it together. He rolls up his sleeves, looking like a hard worker, but behind him, everything's falling apart. It's like hiring someone to build a house, and they just organize the tools instead of building anything. You don't notice until the roof collapses that, oops, there's no house. Michele's warning is like, don't let this guy near important stuff. But the political world keeps acting like everything's fine. Tim's like that coworker who gets promoted just for sticking around, even though everyone knows he's not great. You wonder if the bosses are joking or just gave up. Michele's not a politician, so she doesn't have to play nice. She just says it like it is, and it hits like a surprise punch.
The guy is a doofus. He's just a goober. He's kind of a clown. He's not a serious guy. Every time you see him, he's like, you just get embarrassed for him and for Minnesota. I don't know. Is he popular there? Do people like this guy?
Tim, of course, acts like nothing's wrong, with that politician smile that says everything's cool, even when everything's a mess. But people are starting to see through it. His calm face doesn't work when everyone can see he's not winning. Michele basically shouted, "He's pretending." Once the trick's revealed, the magic's gone. The really scary part, where Michele's warning hits hard, is that Tim's not just messing up on his own time. He's dragging the whole state with him. It's like being on a roller coaster where the driver's asleep, the safety bar's loose, and the tracks are shaky. You're not scared because he's mean. You're scared because he doesn't even notice the problem. And that's the worst kind of leader. Tim's fans will say he's just misunderstood or that his heart's in the right place. Sure, governing's hard, but it's not supposed to look like a school project gone wrong. Good intentions don't fix bridges or solve problems. Michele said what everyone's thinking. Good intentions are useless if you mess everything up.
I live in Minnesota. I need people to know that I've lived there since 1994. I've been through numerous governors, and this guy's the worst. He is a wolf in sheep's clothing. He likes to go around and smile and act like he's just good old Tim Walz. That period of time in Minneapolis was awful. A neighbor across the street came over and said, "Do you have a fire extinguisher? My friend's business is burning and there's no one to help her."
Speaking of messing up, Tim announces big plans like he's super excited, but they fall apart like a wobbly block tower. He doesn't know what he's doing, and that's why people should worry. The public deserves a governor who doesn't treat decisions like a confusing storybook where every choice is bad. Michele made it clear, being scared isn't silly, it's smart. When the leader can't find the steering wheel, everyone in the car should be nervous. That's the real joke of this whole mess. Tim's not a bad guy with evil plans. He's just the guy fumbling during a big presentation, saying it's fine while everything goes wrong. That's why Michele's warning feels different. She's not saying to fear what he'll do on purpose. She's saying to fear what he'll mess up by accident.
This is a place full of working folks, students, folks who care. And I think about this. You came out here early, found a place to park, stood in the sun, sat here and wait, and you did it. You did it for one simple and eloquent and beautiful reason. You love this country. You love this country.
In politics, accidental mistakes can be just as bad as planned ones. When Michele says, "Be scared," she's not trying to spook anyone. She's pointing out the obvious problem. Tim's not scary because he's powerful. He's scary because he's in charge. He's the type who'd accidentally send the state's budget to a store instead of the government and then say it was on purpose. Michele didn't just call him out. She rang the alarm like someone spotting smoke in a crowded room. But the smoke's not from a fire. It's from Tim burning the state's plans and acting like it smells great. He could ruin a meal and call it a bold new recipe.
In our neighborhood for fire extinguishers, we were under curfew, but he was nowhere to be found.
Oh.
And the night that precinct burned and those cops just had to flee, it was one of the most surreal moments I can recall as being a citizen of Anywood.
And yet, people keep letting him try. That's the scary movie part of this story. It's not a monster hiding in the dark. It's everyone cheering for the guy who can't even turn on the oven. Michele's warning is less watch out and more stop acting like this is cute. Tim's turned Minnesota nice into Minnesota nervous. Michele's just saying what's true. This isn't okay, so stop pretending it is. The scariest truth isn't that Tim's causing trouble on purpose. It's that trouble follows him like a puppy. And Michele's advice? Don't pet that dog.